Hey, what's up, guys? Jake here with another episode of On the Rise Music Podcast. Today, we are honored to have special guests, DJs, and producers, well, producer duo, Crowd Control. How's it going, guys? Love your music.
Hey, thank you so much,
How's it
man.
going, man?
How's it going?
Oh, just hanging out, trying to stay busy, trying to keep my mind busy. Staying
that.
indoors a
Feel
little
that.
crazy.
Feel that.
So jumping right into it, how has that been for you guys? I mean, like you mentioned before we started interviewing and everything, that you were like living separately. Is that difficult, like collaborating with each other, or has this time, nothing going on, been easier in terms of making music and collaborating?
I mean,
It's a little half and half.
yeah,
Honestly.
it's like kind of both because I don't know, when it comes to like crowd control, we kind of split it up where most of the production is handled by me, that just because that's where my experience is, and that's what I've been doing for like the past 6 years.
Okay.
And TJ's definitely, getting better like every day. So
Yeah, I've only been producing for about 4 now, so
yeah. And
Okay.
so he kind of handles like all the socials and
it's like it's gotten to a point where it's like I can give a general idea, and then we can sit down, and it's kind of like
I can like kind of work on it with him.
Or
And
it's like,
Okay.
when we're together, I say music's definitely a little bit easier for us to bounce, just because
Oh,
it's
of
like when
course.
one person gets burnt out, we can rotate.
yeah,
on
it's
the
like, hey
chair.
man, hop on. Like I'm getting tired.
Which was dope when we
Definitely.
lived together, because I lived here actually with him last year for a good amount of the time.
It's like 7, 8
It was
months.
like 7 or 8 months, yeah. And
Oh, okay.
it was like we both were still like working regular jobs and stuff. So it was like, go to work, come home, and then it was, sit down and
Yeah.
just start whatever we could, and like, go back and forth. But through quarantine, it's been more just like we have our own separate jobs, and like we work where it's due, just because
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do right now,
Exactly.
especially with the
Definitely.
world being
How it is.
and paused,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all the
definitely.
fun stuff taken away.
Yeah, that's interesting though that you mentioned that how you guys were living together and working together, and now that you're separate, it's almost like instead of like it is a good thing to work with and to live with the people that you're working with, especially as artists. I watched the Elton John movie, and they talked about him and Bernie living together and how that'll help the dynamic and everything. But I mean, having your two separate lives and like having had done that in the past, and now living on your own, living with like in separate places, I'm sure it allows you to maybe think a little bit more individual, because you are doing things on your own. And
That is 100% accurate. Like I've noticed like the past year alone, his style is definitely his like producing style anyway. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like evolved into more of a like San Holo-y kind of like vibe.
It definitely
Okay,
have.
yeah.
It's great because it's like, primarily we're bass music artists.
Yeah.
But we both started out with like, making future bass and like that kind of stuff. So it's like,
Just like the natural progression, I guess.
yeah.
Right?
And so, he's got, 3 or 4 more years on me as far as production goes. So it's like his step forward into the bass music, like part of it was a little, he's had a longer transition.
Yeah, I
time.
just had more time to kind of like experiment with like, I guess, just Ableton and what kinds of music I like to make. And
Definitely.
whenever we started Crowd Control, I was like, okay, now this is like a sign that I need to start kind of honing in on like one genre. And I guess for us, it was like, dubstep, rhythm, like all that kind of like heavy stuff.
And we both knew that we still wanted to, be able to make some of the like prettier stuff.
Which we have, like we have some of those releases on our page.
Yeah, and we also actually have a side project called Ambivalent that we haven't really touched too much.
No.
But there's like a few songs in there, and we've also got a vault page that we have a lot of like, that's supposed to be kind of like our shitpost page.
Yeah, like not exactly throwaways,
yeah,
but just
but like ideas that we didn't finish or weren't like up
good
to
enough
standard.
So
we like put it on that page. We've got a couple songs in there. Go Hard was actually supposed to be one of our first drops we ever released, and
then it just took too long, and it didn't
and then
really keep
by
up.
that point it's like he's already better at producing, I'm already better at producing, we're both sitting there like
what do we do with this track?
yeah.
Definitely.
But to like, well, the common ear, people aren't going to know the difference between a track you produced 7 months ago compared to now if they're not seeing it from the same standpoint that we are. So It's like the vault page was kind of like our place to
put stuff that we didn't know what to do with, or just kind of wanted to put out there and not worry about.
Yeah, and that varies all the way between like lo-fi and
Oh,
like future bass, you know, anything that we really want
House.
up there. Yeah, house is up there. I did a track called, so fun fact, the track on the vault page is called 01_ambivalent. That's because I couldn't decide what to call it. And so that name from that track actually wound up becoming the name for the side project as well, because it was like undecided.
Just kind of works.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, that's I mean, honestly, being 100%, I really like that you guys have picked up that whole like shit posting or whatever it may be as like a page, because a lot of artists, I mean, because I'm a huge fan of Kanye West, and he has a lot of music where he just is unreleased and it's like it's unfinished and everything. And yeah, I understand that it's not ready to be put out to the mainstream, but if you drop something and put it on, like, I know Tyler Creator had like a YouTube that he was just putting random songs on that he wasn't finishing.
yeah.
I think that's what it was. And
He had his page Just a Tune, where he liked it, all that
yeah,
stuff too.
exactly. And it's like it gives the fans a sense of, or like, it may not be a final product, but it's like, this is what I'm working on. And like, it may not be what I typically like you said, you put lo-fi beats on there, you put house beats, it's like stuff that you don't typically create. So it's like allowing the fans, it's showing the fans like, hey, I can do this other stuff, even though I have a specified sound and a specific sound. At least I'm experimenting and I'm messing around, because I'm like, you guys are human too, being completely honest. Like, you want to try different
right.
things.
And I feel like that's a thing that like a lot of artists struggle with nowadays is like they get known for like a certain sound. Like I always, bring up Getter as like a perfect like example of that, because he, started out making like dubstep and like trap. And then once he started to kind of go away from that and like into his own kind of style, which was like a bit softer for some people,
he got shit on.
He got a lot of hate, and it was just people like, "Oh, bring back the old Getter, bring back dubstep."
That's something that frustrates me a lot. Like Getter is a perfect example of that, because he went on his Visceral tour, or Visceral?
Visceral, yeah.
Visceral, yeah. He went on the Visceral tour, and it's like, it's obviously branded as the Visceral tour, right? So you should, if you're gonna buy tickets to that, you should expect to hear music. And it's like, I feel like
he got booed off stage.
Yeah, he got booed off stage, and that's like fucked up to me, because it's like, I feel like my standpoint has always been, if you support an artist and you support their craft, you should support whatever they're feeling, because
100%.
music is not something that you can just shit out of your brain. Like, that comes from emotion. Like, obviously you don't have to think about it, but it's like, emotion is like what powers a lot of the the songs.
Totally.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, like a lot of people see an artist and they listen to it because, like you said, like that sound, and they expect that sound after every album constantly. And it's like, after a while, you have to learn what's coming next. Like, you have to have an ear to the streets or whatever it may be, and you have to listen to like find out what's the next sound. And if you just keep playing what, or producing what, or even just singing, whatever it may be, whatever type of artist you are, if you keep like appropriating that singular sound, then you're gonna like phase out. So yeah, you have to grow a little bit.
Dude, that's why it's like I feel like it's such a gray zone, because it's like, you have artists out there who have stuck with the same sound design, same layout, same production that they've had for 3 years, and you have people complaining because it sounds like, oh, this person's music sounds like every song by them sounds the exact same. But when they want to branch out and try and be different, and then if they're like, well, what the fuck, man? Like, why didn't she just like?
Yeah, I think it's like a very fine line. I think what it comes down to is, keeping your audience on their toes and not getting comfortable like with your sound. I mean, that can be good to an extent, like 100%. Obviously, but I think as long as you keep innovating your sound and making it just like fresher every time, but like keeping it somewhat familiar, I think that's how you can really succeed and like get recognition for your specific sound.
If you can keep it relatively close but different enough, I feel like that's how you become. Yeah, that's how you make a name for yourself. Yeah. Because it's like, you could listen to somebody's music, and I agree. There's a handful of artists out there who I'm like, it's just not, like, it's not cutting it for me anymore, because it's like, oh, I'm starting to feel like this song could sound exactly like that song, and it gets to the point where you're like, I haven't heard this 10 times before already. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. It
all depends. Right?
It's super. I think that's such a gray zone for sure, because it's like, I feel like people should support that shit no matter what. And I think it's
100%.
good to try and branch out just a little bit here and there. And that's why I feel like we've made it very like, apparent that we're not
Like
gonna,
upfront,
we're
like-
not going to just stick to one type of music the whole time, because it's impossible for us. I mean, future bass and like all that kind of stuff. Like I love like progressive house, future bass, like all the,
Vibey
music,
kind of
all
stuff.
the vibey shit.
Yeah.
That's like my home. So like I'm a bass music producer. I love bass music. Like that's, gonna forever be what I
part
want
of
to be
you,
a part of.
part of us, right?
But I really like love the shit that I can put my emotion out into. If I'm feeling something, I want to be able to put it out on a track. And we've made that very apparent that we're not gonna be like
just future bass,
like
or
don't
like
expect
just
one thing
dubstep.
from us, because you're not going to get just that one thing all the time. Like even as of lately, we've been switching it up with a lot of styles in our drops. We've been incorporating more trap into it, which is something new.
And that's like kind of where I came from. Like that's one of the first, like, I guess, harder genres that I started looking into was, just like trap music and like heavy 808s. Shout out 808 Day. No,
Shout out 808.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to be upfront about that with your fans and to be very transparent, that's great, because you, as artists, like being completely honest, I don't mean to offend any fan or anything, but you guys don't owe your fans anything. Like they came to you and they found out about you because of your individuality and the sound and like your creativity. It like maybe it was because of the sound, but if they really care about you as like an artist and as just a creative, because it is your mind, then they're going to be like, okay, I want to listen to the experimental stuff that they have. I want to listen to the stuff that is a little bit different. And from there, like you branch out and like you don't, as I've talked to artists on like through this podcast and just people in general that talk about being pigeonholed into one thing and being considered one thing. It's like you limit yourself and you restrict, because like you said, music is feeling. If you're putting out something that you don't really that you feel kind of lukewarm about, that there's a different sound that would relate to you more, then that sound that you're working on is just not going to cut it, because it's not going to have 100% of your emotion, 100% of your commitment into it. So yeah, like go ahead. Like what you guys are doing is be transparent, be straight up. Like I'm like, first and foremost, you are a creative and it is your mind. Like no one can like restrict you and no one can tell you what you can and can't do, especially if it's your fans, because those are the people that are supporting you.
Support you.
It's like
no matter what endeavors you want to go toward.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm all, one of my like biggest things that I try to like hold myself accountable to is to stay interactive with all the people that support us. And like
that is the one thing like with our duo that I am so thankful for him for. I am not like the biggest, interactive like social media guy. I just kind of, I'm just there for the memes, right? But
and I'm like so
I feel that.
I love to talk to people, and like meeting fans, meeting people is like one of the reasons why I've enjoyed doing this for, in the first place. It's getting to a point too where it's like I'm kind of in that gray area with the word fans. I think I like to think of fans more as like friends, because it's like friends support you and like get you where you're supposed to be, and it's like you don't support somebody you don't know if you don't like them or appreciate what they're doing. And it's like I would never, like obviously I would like support somebody random out there that I didn't know if I fucked with what they were doing, you know what I mean? But it's like I feel like I try to stay as interactive and like, I listen to them and like we talk about it. Like, if people are like, I'm not feeling this too hot, or like, this is not, like obviously we'll listen to it. We're not going to, bend over backwards and fucking
of course
change everything about it. But I think
we take feedback.
Yeah, we take feedback. Can't talk feedback, constructive criticism, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. We take it well.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yeah, we've there've been a handful of times where we've sent out music to our friends and may not get the most positive response back, and that's okay. You be willing to fix that. But yeah, I think it's gray area for me and all that stuff. But yeah.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you do have to be able to incorporate some of that criticism, but not let it change you, because you did become an artist for a singular vision, because you had a singular vision. If you begin to alter that vision and then you lose sight of what you truly wanted, then it's like, what are you doing it for? Like, what is it all for if it's not just helping you like express yourself and to like reach out to those people. So yeah, definitely, like you do have to be aware that it is an industry where you have to constantly keep like refining what you're doing. So you will face a lot of people that are like, you can do better than this, you can do this better, whatever it may be. But yeah, don't cater to their every need. Listen, like yeah, like you said, you've gotten better with like criticism and everything, and like and taking it in and really like analyzing it. But yeah, definitely do not let it change like your overall vision. Don't let it change who you are as a person. Like you're doing you because you're doing you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like for me personally, just like as a person and a producer, criticism and I guess competition to like a certain extent is like really what like lights my internal fire. Like
Okay.
that's what gets me going. It's like people telling me you can do better when like I don't see that myself, and I'm like, shit, okay, you're right, I can do better, and I'll show you that I can. You know, it's like that kind of thing.
It's crazy because he is like the definition of like my ears work. You know what I mean? Like I could literally be like, hey, do this.
Oh,
and he'll fucking do it. Like exactly like our first label release, Tear It Down, was when we were still living together. And
but
I remember
you're like not at the house.
Yeah, I left to go
hang out with someone.
It was like the last supper, this thing I did with my friends before I went to college, and we were in his room, and right before I left, I was like, well, I think it would sound sick if you had it be like, no, wah, you know? And it was like,
yeah, he just like gave me an idea.
And then
I was like,
3 hours later, this kid FaceTimes me. He's like, is this what you're talking about? Dead on exactly. Is perfect.
Yeah, there's that dynamic again, the Lee and Elton dynamic.
I think it's really nice
having two people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we both started out separately, you know, and it's like,
yeah, of course.
I have no doubts in my mind that, you know, both of us, you know, we would still be where we are if we were to, you know, stay separately. But I feel like
we're like stronger together.
Yeah, because it's like the amount of time that it took for us to build what we've built so far, you know, like Crowd Control's brand, like as a whole, began on October 4th of 2018. And then November 18th of 2018 is when he joined. So it was like from that time, I mean, we, you know, 2 months later already, we had been booked for Bass Ops, and that was our first show.
So that was my first show. My first show was as Crowd Control.
Yeah.
But like before he had played like 3 or 4 like as a solo artist. Or, like,
yeah. Oh, I had done a few. I've been kind of moving all throughout Denver a little bit here and there before all this started. Obviously, Crowd Control has been like the big uprising of both of our careers, but it's like it was like I don't know, me and him just like since the day we met just like clicked like that, you know.
Yeah,
and it was
perfect.
Like
there you
one
go.
of those things where it was like,
hey, you like dubstep?
Yeah. Well, this is
Did we just become best friends? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and this is like one of my favorite things about.
You love telling the story.
Yeah. So I love this because the night that Danny and I met, you know, I was still Brisk here, whatever. He was still Showgill, so I hadn't really done my rebrand yet or whatever. And I showed up to DJ this party from this girl that I had met like a few nights previous. She had, you know, asked about my music, whatever. And then that night at the party, she's like, you should come DJ. And I was like, okay, word. So I showed up with my DDJ SX2 and like my you know, my speaker. And then like not even 5 minutes later, he fucking walked in with his
controller. Because I got invited too. And
she failed to mention.
Yeah.
There'd
be another DJ there, right?
So he pulls up and it's like, at that moment, it was kind of like an intimidation.
Yeah, it was like,
oh, you're like,
what's up, man?
Let's see what you fucking got. Like, you know, and we ended up like setting up 2 tables. And I was like, I want to show you some stuff. And then he was like, I want to show you some stuff. And we kept going back and forth.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just a singular speaker with like an aux cable.
Yeah, I had one JBL speaker that I still use to this day. It's like one big JBL, and I take that thing with me everywhere we go when there's like, you know, DJing involved. And fucking, we just spent time like going back and forth. And
it was like, okay, yeah, this guy's got the feel for it. Yeah, this guy's got the ear for it. Yeah, okay.
It was fucking from that point on, it just kind of like,
it was just kind of like, okay,
everything just kind of fell into place. Well, what's even crazier about that is we found out that there was like 4 other times previous where we were in the same room with each other
and could have met
and we didn't. So it was like 5th time, you know, at that point, you know,
The universe is
It's
like, you
you gotta
motherfuckers,
fucking
come
do
on."
it, bro.
Yeah, about time, pretty much. But
Yeah,
I mean, hey, better late than never. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are ribbing off of each other. It's insane to see this like this cohesive duo that you guys have created. It's almost like like you guys had something that each other needed, and the fact that you finally met and did like that face off, like that really friendly face off, it was perfect because you were like, okay, I can see where I like. I'm pretty sure subconsciously you guys were like, oh wow, I could see where I can go with this guy. Like I can see how I can push myself as a brand, or even just as like a collective. Like before that even crossed your mind,
yeah.
I'm
And
pretty
I
sure.
would say that sorry,
No, you're
I would
good.
say that became like even more apparent, like as we started to like
Hang out.
get to know each other, because
Yeah.
it was just like he had all the show experience that I needed to like kind of get into the scene.
Because I started out mixing, so like my first, like I had the DJ controller that I've had since 8th grade, and actually wasn't even mine at first. It was my friend Michael's. We were gonna get into. He was supposed to be my DJ partner. But like 6 years ago, me and this kid had this big plan, and he went off into acting, and I stuck with it. So he gave me the equipment, but it was like, yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of like we always like mention the like 60-40 ratio, where like he's like 60% mixing, and then I'm like 60% producing, like 40% mixing, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting because like I guess when it comes to like production, I'm always one to kind of like be very humble about it and like doubt myself like a lot of the time.
Yeah,
and he's always kind of there to be like, yo, snap out of it, like this is a banger, like come on.
Exactly, because it's like, and that's where having two set of ears I think helps a lot as well. 'Cause it's like it's really easy for me to put down some sort of idea and like bring it to him,
and I could be like, okay, this is a cool start. I can see like what I could do with this, like make it even better.
Exactly, because it's like, you know, his brain is more complex when it comes to it right now. It is. I mean, his thinking process is so much more complex when it comes to that shit right now. Because my thing is, I'm such a like on the go kind of person that like when I sit down to work on something, if I'm not liking how it's sounding, I get anxious, irritable, and then I stop. You know, it's like with him, he'll focus on it so much that he'll get tired of hearing it. And at that point, that's when he's like, oh, I'm not feeling this song anymore. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, shit slaps. Like,
nah, that's perfect. I mean, you need someone like I have a good friend of mine who I mean, granted, he only produces music like that. It's just him by himself, and he does his own thing. Nothing serious, just for fun. And yeah, same exact thing. Like I like we go to the library together. We work on homework, and he's like, bro, I don't like this. I've been working on this for like 3-4 days. Like I just don't fuck with it anymore." He puts it on for me, and I'm like, dude, what do you mean? Like what the hell?
Slaps.
Hard. Like yeah, just keep doing it. Like seriously. Like I totally get that. Like,
that's every producer's like biggest struggle. Yeah,
100% is
self-doubt. Like will this stack up to the ranks of like the other producers at my level? That's what I think about constantly, is like, is what I'm making up to the standard of other people who have the same experience that I have, right?
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
It's also, I don't know, it's just weird. Like whenever I think about a song and it's like, I made this, I think about it differently.
Oh,
if I were to think about like if it was the same song produced by somebody else, right?
Oh, of course.
And it's, I don't know, it's just this weird mindset that I get in.
And it is so crazy because it's like you will experience that. Like I'll make something or he'll make something and we'll like show it to people and they'll like love it, but potentially both of us can hate it. You know what I mean? Like, like I have been so like hot and cold with a lot of the stuff that I make, and I know he's been so hot and cold with pretty much everything that he makes. It gets to a certain point where it's like you kind of have to
just understand that you know what you're doing,
because you're always going to be your own worst critic. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And as long as you do all the stuff that you're supposed to do, like production-wise for the genre that you're making, you know, there will be people out there that will like it. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the same saying as, like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Everybody hears music differently. Everybody has a different feel for, like, what they like. So just because you don't like something that you made doesn't mean that the next guy is not going to find it a million times more interesting and show it to his friends who might also enjoy it just as much, you know?
Definitely, yeah, and it does pay off to take those mental breaks, because you could definitely like burn yourself out. Like, I mean, as a producer, I'm sure you know exactly how that feels. Like you're just constantly pushing yourself, and one day it's like, I can't do this. So yeah,
sometimes where you like stop working on it entirely. I wish we could pull out. I mean, dude, if we would have stuck consistently to every song that we started last year, EP's alcohol. But the problem is we get so far in deep, and then we get to this point where it's like a clash, because it's like, I love the song, but he doesn't because he's worked on it so much. And then it's like, I'll sit down and try and figure out what to do next, but then it's like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Because it was like my idea, and then like you tried to fix it, and it was like, I don't know what to do with all this stuff.
It happens like frequently too. Like I started a score remix for the because Disciple released that pack with all the stems, and like it sounds pretty cool. Like it's a really cool general bass idea, but my organization compared to his is so different. So it's like I send him the project file, to open it, look at it for 5 seconds, and be like, I don't have the energy to try and figure out what to do with this right now. And like, I'm like, it goes away in the trash. It doesn't come back.
But yeah, I mean, even though like that does occur, having 2 years or 2 sets of ears is like, it's totally beneficial. And I'm like, you guys push each other 100%. And I mean, you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that collective vision, that similar but different vision, because like you said, each of you have a different like, not mindset, but
like outlook on it almost.
There you go, exactly, like a different outlook, and it definitely pushes you, and like it keeps you on that track. It might not, you might not notice it pushing you, but I mean, each one of you like giving each other advice and being like, hey, this is different, this sounds actually better than what you thought it sounds like, is keeping you on that path, and I mean, like, it's working. I mean, it's working 100%. So you guys know what you're doing.
It is. It's. I'm like at that point now. I think we're both kind of at that point now where it's like any doubts that we ever had of it like working is like vanished completely, because it's like,
oh, good.
I think we're both like so far in deep into this shit now. It's like we're at that point where it's like we're picturing the next 5 to 10 years.
Of course.
Yeah, it just like COVID. I mean, it kind of messed up everybody's life, obviously. Definitely. But for us, it was like we were going up exponentially. Like each show had like a bigger audience, and like each show, more people knew who we were. And then COVID just cut that all out for us.
Dude, COVID struck, and it was like that became that ultimate like, are we still relevant type feeling?
Oh, trust me, I get it.
That's
sucks.
Tough, because that mental block is like, that's the most demotivating mental block that both of us have faced throughout this whole thing.
Yeah,
it's just
and like
the relevancy factor of it, and it's like, I guess ultimately what we've struggled with and what we need to continue to remember moving forward is that we're going to continue to stay relevant so long as we put the work in to be there,
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, and like for me, I get so much of my inspiration like a day or two like after we play a show, because like just being there in that setting, and like being able to like hear the music live, I just get so many more ideas like after a show. And not being able to play shows, I just got so like demotivated, and I was like, I don't know what to make right now. Like, what do people want? What should I make? What do I want?
That's where you kind of have to find that external motivation of like, for us now, it's been like labels, like more specifically, we've been really looking towards some of the underground labels, like Audio is like, Audio is like one of our favorite labels. Like they don't miss, and it's like,
we're starting to get some like recognition from some of the, bigger up artists.
And to be a part of a collective like that is like, that right now is enough motivation for us, because it's like, when you put it into perspective like this, when you start to release more music like that and the numbers continue to grow, once all this shit,
because it's not going to last. It's definitely not going to.
Those start coming back. Yeah. The demand is going to be higher. Hopefully, that's the goal in the end anyway, is to build the numbers, get high demand, so by the time all this shit is done, we can
come out swinging.
Yeah, that's the goal right
now. As you should, yeah. And what's really interesting about that, you mentioned how it like threw everyone off, and you guys are taking like how you guys are seeing like, oh, we can use this time and to build ourselves and to make our sound better so we can get those labels. I actually talked to an artist the other day, our last interview with the DJ Ahi, and he was saying that he feels that this time is like the perfect time for people to start learning and to start pushing themselves and to weed out those people that aren't making music that is real. And the same exact conversation I had with Lizzie Jane on our podcast previous to that one. She's like, this is the time where people it's like pushing you. It's like, is this really what you want? And by doing that, those people that aren't actually creating music that they or that are falling victim to like not being motivated and whatever it may be, that they're the people that are doing their shit and they're on top of their shit, they're rising to the top. And the ear of the fans is going to become a lot more refined. They're going to start to hear like better music, and they're going to be like, okay, these people that we were listening to before that were just doing it for clout or that were doing it for money. I mean, we all know why, like, money is a great thing, but I mean, if you're
money's fantastic.
That's like the goal. It's just, this route as an artist, people always say it's like, oh, that's not an easy path, and like,
yeah,
it's really, it can be hard, but
definitely
at the end of the day, I would rather be doing this and just be getting by, but still have that end goal dream than be working just like a boring ass job where I just get paid, enough to live comfortably, which, would still be nice.
Yeah, it's not an issue, but I mean, you guys care about what you're doing. Like that's the end goal, is that you guys are passionate, you're willing to push yourselves and to learn. And because of that drive and that motivation, like you said, you're looking and pushing yourself to find a label to get that recognition that you deserve. And when all of this is said and done, when COVID is over, when we're able to go back and just return to a new normal, like you said, you're going to hit the ground running. Like you're going to come out swinging. Like you guys will eventually like hit that stride. And I mean, you're using this time to motivate you, and that's great.
I like that term a lot. A new normal, because I think that's what it's going to be, right? Because it's not gonna go back to normal.
Society's never going to be how it was 6 months ago.
Like,
definitely not.
My like dad's been saying that this is going to be like the next flu, basically, because it's not going anywhere anytime soon. We're just going
not at all.
deal with it, right?
It's just, you can't live your life in fear. It's like, if you
100%.
live your life in fear, you're never going to get anywhere. You gotta
100%. And
like,
I know,
take the precautions.
Yeah,
right?
take the precautions, but don't be like one of those people that's like, I'm not leaving my fucking house for the next 7 years until the shit's like gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I say that all the time. I'm like, yo, we could live a normal life, or like a relatively normal life, like if everyone just put on their mask when they go outside, follow the rules.
That's the best advice you could give. Put a fucking mask on. It's not that hard.
100%.
It's not that hard.
It's not only is it not that hard, it's not that deep. Okay?
Yeah, it's really
there's really no excuse for you to be like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask because this.
Dude, people get offended. Like,
I know.
They'll get offended if you're like, where's your mask? They're like, fuck that shit. Like, I don't need none of that. Like, COVID's a joke. I'm like, bro,
it's
doesn't
really not.
And like, the thing is it's like, that's where the like inconsideration comes into play. It's not about just you. It's about the fucking people around you.
Yeah, it's a shared experience.
Everybody's taking a hit here, and nobody's gonna be able to, succeed and be, comfortable and happy again if not everybody's willing to take the steps to get there.
Yeah, if you want this to be over, listen to the professionals. Like, that's it. It's literally as easy as it is. Yeah, and especially for you guys, like, I know 100% you're like you said, you're willing to just get back on the road and get back to touring, get back to doing shows.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here like, please put your fucking mask on. Like, I want to go back to playing shows. Like we miss that shit so much. And I know every artist is struggling with that right now, missing
100%.
Because it's like, that's
the payoff.
That is the payoff.
Oh, definitely.
It's not even the money that you get from it. It's the adrenaline, the rush.
Oh, I get it.
Experience of being up there, watching people move to the stuff that comes from your brain.
Definitely.
It's awesome. It's the best feeling ever.
I get it. 100%. I totally get it. And like, you can't take that away from you. Like, I was talking to Ahi, and he was talking about his first ever like huge show. And I was saying like, yo, no one can ever take that experience away from you. Like, when all is said and done, if in the end, like you just give up like music production, whatever it may be, like, you're always going to have that experience of being on stage and just hearing the crowd, like, just love your music just because of the energy and the vibes and everything. Like, you can't take that away from you.
Yeah, 100%.
The crowd reactions are like one of our most favorite things.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh yeah,
like whenever it's like some like crazy drop that like, just kind of came out of nowhere, or like whether it's like one of our new tracks and we're like, yo, new shit, just like hearing just like the crowd reaction is like what really fuels us. I feel like.
Dude, absolutely. Because it's like when you hear how they react to something that has come from like in here, like nobody else had that idea. So it's like to hear X amount of people scream their heads off because it was just that, crazy.
Unparalleled experience. Honestly.
That shit's nuts.
Yeah, I totally understand. And like speaking of your shows, I was told before that you guys did a show with Sullivan King. From what I was told, it was one of your better shows. Like, you want to explain that a little bit and describe that experience?
That was easily our best show.
That one was super special for two reasons. One, that was definitely the best show we've ever played, and two, it was actually a benefit show in memory for my best friend. He's Decadon. His father passed away this year on Valentine's Day, and so he put together a little benefit show, and he's really close with Sullivan King, and he's really close with Rondo, and
us,
everybody. Everybody on that bill was pretty much just like all of his close friends. So we did that show in honor of Don to send him off properly, because he was
awesome guy.
He was fantastic. Like
Rest
he was like a father figure to everybody he met. It wasn't just like artists in the industry knew who he was. It was like anybody who followed, Decadon's music closely knows his dad, because they're always together, and like he was always, there, and he supported the shit out of us. Like he pushed us, and he was always there for us, and one of his goals was to try and help us play the Ogden, which, if you look at it in this perspective in turn, ultimately he helped us get it in the end, but that one was incredible, because it was,
you could feel the electricity in the air.
The energy
especially
was just
whenever
unmatched.
Like whenever Donnie was on stage and we were just watching him up there, it was oh man, there's so much love in the room right now.
Was unmatched, and I think it's because, one, everybody knew why they were there.
Definitely.
And two, everybody who stepped up on that stage
just killed it.
They gave their all, because, this was supposed to be special for him. It was a great way to send it off. But that has gone down in history for sure for us as like the best show we've ever played.
That was also our like most recent one.
Yeah, that was
like right before COVID.
That was the last show.
I think you guys got it in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, literally. And we talk about that so much too, me and Donnie, how like blessed we are that was able to happen before all this happened. Because if they had got that booked for even a month later,
1 month later,
like wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, definitely.
So, that one was super, super, super special for multiple reasons, but it was our best performance, and it was the most interaction we've had with the crowd yet. We do this thing every show where we go into the crowd during the song, and we rage with all the people. In the
there you go. Yeah.
And so it was awesome, because I started that when we played the first show last January at Bass Off.
It was like, so we do our sets kind of like 50-50, just because
we have different mixing styles. I'm a very like fast-paced, like straight to the point mixer. I like my shit to be like build up, drop, build up, drop, build up, drop.
Very Excision,
little tension. Yeah, that's my mixing style. I guess you could compare it mostly to like Excision as far as like how many songs I'm fitting into this amount of time. And he's more of like he likes to add variation
and like kind of
and like
tell a story almost.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, we started going into the crowds last January, and the one at the Ogden was by far the best, because I went out there and the Ogden stage is the way it's set up. You walk out and there's
like
a
stairs on the
right
sides.
there, and there's a stairs. So I jumped over them and I ran straight into the front row, and everyone's shoving me around, and I'm headbanging, and all of a sudden I just hear everybody scream, "Danny!" Danny! I look over and Danny's like sitting there like this.
Like, I'm like, I can't get through. The song's almost over. Let me in.
That one was fun.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's I mean, of course that would probably be my most favorite show if I were in your shoes. Like the whole reason behind it, it's just like the energy behind, like everyone knew why they were there. Everyone was good friends. Like the people the lineup was just all good friends, and they knew about
back to back at the end as well, which was super, super cool.
Which I missed out. Okay, so I missed out on that back to back because the guy who drove me isn't the biggest EDM fan. And
Okay.
every time I would like go up to him, I could just tell he was not having a good time. And I like stayed for like as long as I could. I was like, I gotta see Donnie's set, man. Like I gotta see Donnie's set. Like I gotta see Sullivan King's set. And like halfway through Sullivan King's set, I could just tell he was not having it. And I was like, do you want to head out, man? He was like, probably pretty soon. And I was like, okay, you stuck around for this long, we can go now.
Yeah.
And as soon as we're driving away, PJ's like, we're going up on stage for a big back-to-back. And I was like,
no.
It was yeah, I felt
it sucked, but
I felt
I was
awful.
glad to see him up there because I know that was one of your pinnacle moments.
Oh, that was like, dude, I relived that moment in my head so many times because I made this Grizztronics edit that I've been putting in our sets for the past year. It's a crossover between Modern Hieroglyphics by Nazar and Grizztronics, and then I just do my own little crowd control twist. I'm
edit master.
Yeah, edit master. I'm king of edit. So I got to throw that during the back-to-back, and that was insane for me because that was the first time I had really got to like stand up there, look out, and see a full, almost sold out show, and like drop something that was like special to me.
Yeah,
it was like something that maybe not my songs, but the crossover came from my brain. That actually went over well too. Nazar ended up putting it in his Evil Eye Season 1 mix and put it on 1,001 track list. That was sick. But
yeah, and like that's why you do it. That's why you produce. That is exactly why. Like again, money is great, but that's the feeling that you're chasing. That you're chasing that like that everyone feels your music and understands your music. And I mean, even when you were doing your like solo set, I'm sure you felt the same exact thing. But it like I understand like. It sucks that only one half of you guys were able to go up there.
Dude, and I felt so bad for him too because I was like, this is like one of those things where it's like you don't know how many times in your life you're gonna get this. I mean, obviously,
we'll hopefully get it again.
It's gonna happen a bunch.
Oh,
but
definitely.
At that very moment in time, it was like
I was just in the car like.
Oh, major FOMO. Major FOMO.
But yeah, it was good to see videos of like him up there because you were just fucking.
Oh, dude, yeah, I don't know what this is, bro. It's
you just felt natural.
Always my move, and everyone's always like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm always just like, "I don't know, bro."
It just feels natural. It just feels right. No, but yeah, you guys like 100%. You guys are definitely gonna experience that. I mean. Like you aren't sitting back and you definitely aren't just like submitting to what is going on. You guys are in the studio, even though you are living separately. You guys are still putting in that work, still putting in those hours, still busting your ass like at your jobs and doing this on the side, like doing this after. It's just like like it's only a matter of time. Like you said, you're using that motivation of trying to get a bigger recognition, get yourself a bigger label, and it's like. You guys are like this is perfect. This is the crunch time. Like keep quiet, do your thing, keep pushing, keep making stuff on the low, and then when the time hits, just boom, it's all out. Like you guys know you guys were capable. You saw what we were capable of before. Now we were able to refine it and to become like to push ourselves a little bit more and to find a little bit more of our sound. And here we are post COVID. Like let's take on the world. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all. I think it's something that helps us too is, obviously numbers are important now, and it's like for us it's really I feel like it's a lot more motivating too when like for example our Straya remix that we just put out is like the numbers went pretty well for the first week that it was.
Are they doing good now?
Yeah, it's at like 1,500, which was pretty good. We didn't really do much promotion for it either. We just kind of
dropped it. It was like, hey, tomorrow it's coming out.
It just kind of came out of nowhere, and like still people are like interested, which helps a lot. Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, you guys are aware of the formula. You definitely know where your motivators are at. So motivations are at. So yeah, it's only in my eyes and in the on the Rise team's eyes, it's only a matter of time before you hit that stride, before you get that recognition, and yeah, before you guys are back on stage together this time. Going crazy.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, despite all the craziness, it's still been, people might think I'm crazy for saying this, but 2020 has not been as miserable, And I think it's just because now at this very moment in time, with the way that things are, I think it's super, super important for people to just kind of appreciate as much as they possibly can.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like for us, it's been like our collab that we did with Donnie, Decadon himself.
Hit 100K.
Yeah, it just hit 100K and charted on the top 50 charts for 3 months straight.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's huge. Congrats, you guys. That's huge.
It was crazy. It was in the top 50 trending at number 5.
Wow.
And then after that, like a couple weeks later, I get a message from somebody on Snapchat, and they were like, "Yo, check the regular top 50 charts. Your track is up there."
The all-time dubstep
and
top 50.
It was number 11 right up there.
Wow. Okay.
Our song there, and then right above it, there's like Excision and Skrillex and like
wow. Okay.
Like what? It stayed on the top 50 charts for a good 3 months. It was at number 11 for a while, and then it moved up to 24, and then it just sat there, and it just stayed. And like that was huge for us.
Wild.
That was like because that's something that every artist when you start out you dream of. I want to chart someday. I want to chart someday, and to see your name on the charts with people like Skrillex and Excision and like the pioneers of the music that we make now was like
what,
huge.
Dude?
Yeah, that was fun.
That was definitely surreal. 100%. Yeah, that's why you do it. Again, that's why you want that. You just want to be able to be like, hey, this is my creative idea. This is my idea. This is what I'm putting out. And
being recognized for that.
Exactly. And it's like, I mean, that is a huge accomplishment. And because of that, like now I have even more confidence that it's only a matter of time before you guys hit that major label, hit whatever it may be, just like before you hit your stride. And it's like, it's close. And you guys, like what you're doing right now, you're keep on doing it. Like, I'm sure you guys are aware of that already. But I mean, hey, like coming from someone else, coming from the On the Rise team, like, oh, of course. And I'm a big fan. I mean, like I'm roommates with a couple frat guys. I'm gonna talk to them, like put them on to you, like, cause you guys this stuff is pretty crazy, and I'm a big fan.
It's crazy because it's like for us when we got the message like, hey, we like your music, you want to be on the podcast? We were like, fuck yeah.
Like we've never done one of these before.
Yeah,
right?
but like
so.
that's like, dude, the idea that like people out there still listen, like people are listening to our music, and like you guys, for example, to find a page that finds us and like appreciates our stuff enough to want to ask us questions. I respect and appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was just coincidental that we wanted to start it now. That now that I think about it, you mentioned that like you felt a little bit like you guys were irrelevant because all that happened, like there wasn't much showing. And like, yeah, we do want to remind you guys like, hey, you are still making an impact. We just, and from that, we just want to let you talk to your fans like we're having right now, just a conversation. Let everyone who listens to you get to know who you are, or maybe people that never listen to you hear how you hear what you talk about, hear your points of views, and be like, okay, this seems like a pretty stand-up guy. Throw on your music, throw on, like just start bumping to it. And they're like, okay, yeah, maybe I was right.
And that's like a big part of it for us. Or I guess he kind of like turned me on to this idea of like,
I think it's super, 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 and I cannot stress it enough, extremely important to be a personality on top of 100%. Being an artist, because
people can relate to you.
Yeah, I really think it's really important for your followers to be able to relate to you as a person and not just the music that you're creating, because it's disappointing when you find somebody's music that you love and it turns out they're just an awful person,
Oh, definitely.
And like you wouldn't know that they're an awful person because they don't showcase it enough. They don't showcase themselves as people. And like that's where I've kind of like turned our brand into, yes, we're music, but like think of us as like friends, think of us as like, like homies out there that want to like kick it or like smoke weed or whatever, like we like do whatever, bro, because it's like I think it's like really it helps people to want to support your music more
when they know
you as a person.
Definitely.
They know the person you are. And so it's like I try my best. Like what you see on my Snapchats, what you see on our Instagram stories, that's just us being us, like we're just stupid. So it's like we just like to have fun and chill and
meet cool people.
Yeah, meet cool people. Yeah. So it's I think
being 100% unapologetically yourself is the way to go. And I wish I had figured that out when I was a lot younger, because we probably would have had this podcast running for a few years now. But I'm glad that I figured that out. And yeah, you guys should definitely not change who you are. Music is just an extension of you. Like, yeah, I agree 100%. I have listened to artists and I've been like, yo, these are great guys. I can only imagine hanging out with them. And then I see stories on Twitter, like threads. They're like, yo, so and so is like actually a terrible person.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? Like, where the hell did this come from?
It always feels bad because you're like,
oh my god, you feel cheated.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, and
being
just
real is a big part of that.
100%.
True to like what you came from, and like you should not have to worry about changing yourself as a person to alter somebody else's perception of you just so that they'll like you better. Like, just fucking be yourself and like and show people the kind of person you are. Like in our case, 100%. We're fun people who just love to like meet people and hang out. So it's really easy for us to just like when somebody comes up to us at a show or something, it's really easy to like hang out with them, talk to them, it's
we love that shit.
Yeah, like we love that. Like that's one of my favorite things about it, honestly, is getting to meet people, because I'm such a sociable person that it's like when somebody comes up to me and they tell me or that they listen to our music and then they ask to take a picture with us or something like that.
That's cool.
That's like like, okay, so you appreciate what I'm doing. Let me show my appreciation back. Like, I'm going to treat you the way you should be treated. You just you're a person. I'm a person. Like, we're no different. I feel like that's
definitely.
That gets stripped a lot too. Is society seems to forget. I feel like that a lot of times DJs are still people, and it's like,
not even just DJs.
It's
just like
musicians in general.
Anybody
who has some sort of social status,
social presence.
Yeah, they're like immediately stripped of their
100%. I agree.
So it's like, just be who you are, be real, and like that shouldn't happen, because it's like people already know the kind of person you are. There's nothing to hide,
100%. Yeah, and like for me as a person, I like to view authenticity and just people being like genuine people as being a quality that is super important. It's like one of the top 5 qualities that I pride myself on in life, and that I view for in people. And in an artist, if you are 100% unapologetically yourself, I'm completely a fan, because it's like you're putting how you feel and you're expressing how you feel, and you're not doing it for clout. Like, you may gain like notoriety and fame, excuse me, but that's because that's who you are. Like it's not that you're altering, like you said, you're not altering who you are to please the crowd. You're just like, this is me. Like, wow, it's crazy you guys love me, but like, I'm glad you guys love me.
Honestly,
exactly.
It's like,
well, because it's like, I know, like me, like growing up in school, like I always had my select friend group, but I was also kind of like a floater in some areas where it's like,
I feel that 100%.
It's like,
yeah, definitely.
See people out there now that are like, I want to be your friend just because of the kind of person you are. That's what fuck yeah,
cool.
Like, cool.
Oh, I get it, 100%. Yeah, I was the same exact way in high school. Like I had like a couple good friends, and then I just kind of floated. I knew a lot of people, and
yeah, exactly.
And now now that I'm like in college and I was like found out my real friends, it's like, yo, it is nice to just like to have like really refined who I am as a person, and to show people that and be like, look, this is me, and if you don't like me for being me, like, I can't be mad at you. Like that's just you, but respect me. And if you do love me and do want to be friends with me, like, hey, let's be friends. 100%.
Totally, dude.
Exactly, dude. And like, that's another thing that I try to make it very apparent to anybody that follows us. Every once in a while, I'll put up like a tweet or something where I'm like, hey, like if you're having a bad day, like our DMs are open. Like you can always DM us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like, we love to talk to people. I'm like, if you need, like, I know what it's like to like go through some shit and feel like you don't have people there to talk to.
Yeah.
And it's
100%.
like, it's not necessarily our job, but if you're going to support us, at least that like I feel like I can do in return is help you out. You need advice, you need somebody to talk to, like count on it. I'll always be there, because like I'm on my phone all the time, So it's like somebody needs to fucking talk to me, and somebody needs to talk to Danny. They can 100% do that, and like I make sure that that's very, very apparent, because it's like, especially right now with life the way that it is and being so crazy, like sometimes you need somebody to talk to, and like you need somebody to be there, and like I know what it's like to go through shit alone. So it's like, we try to make sure that people understand that they can come to us whenever they need, and like, you know, like we're friends. Like that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah, that is definitely a principle that a lot of people should adopt. Yeah, we are in, like, even though each one of us has a different experience and each one of us has a different just position in life, we all are humans and we all are on this earth for the same exact
Exactly.
purpose. So we should all be out there helping each other out. And the fact that you guys are doing it with your fans, that's huge. Like congrats to you guys. Like all power to you. Like the fact that you guys are just like, hey, if you want to talk to us, like I understand we are artists, but like we are human too. Like we want to talk, and that's amazing. That's obviously that. Like I had a friend of mine who was on Reddit, and he had a random conversation with I can't remember the rapper, but he had like a burner account. He had a random conversation with him on like a subreddit, and then the dude messaged him and was like, hey, this is, I forget what his name was. He's like, this is so and so. Like I had a really good conversation with you online. Like I appreciate the love and everything. And he was like, whoa, what? He was so shocked, and he was just like, this is crazy. Like that fan interaction, even though he didn't listen to him very much, it got him even more into the artist. And it was like we need more of that. We need more, because like you said, artists get stripped of their humanity when they're put on, they're looked at, they're put on a pedestal. They're almost praised.
Yeah,
they're almost praised, and in reality, they're just normal people. They just figured out something that a lot of us haven't figured out yet. Whether it be music, whether it be acting, whatever it may be, like they're just normal people. That's why a lot of these people like turn to substance abuse, because they get scared and they're like, I have to be someone else that I really am not. And it's like, in reality, it's not true. Like we're all the same. Yeah, we are different, but it's a shared experience, and we're all in this together. So
yeah,
like what you guys are doing is amazing for your fans. So.
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I like to make sure that stays apparent, because you know, it's like people should never have to feel like they're in the dark, or like, you know, like nobody should ever have to feel like they have to be silent about their problems, because you know, society puts this idea in people's heads now where it's like, if you're reaching out for help, you're crying for attention, and that's not always the case. 100%. Sometimes people just genuinely need somebody to talk to because they're broken, and it's like everybody should be able to help somebody out when it's needed, you know.
Definitely.
So, like,
I agree.
I think that's super, like, that part
it's
of
big.
It's super big, yeah. And like, it sucks that that's kind of where society's like molded people's brains to go, is like, oh, this person's crying for attention. Not necessarily. Like, they might just honestly need somebody to talk to, you know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And like you said, it really isn't like a cry for attention. Like some people genuinely need it. And the fact that, I mean, I'm same way with my friends. I tell people I may not be that close to, but I'm like, hey, I've dealt with shit, and I know you're dealing with shit. Even if you're not dealing with it right now, you probably will, or you have in the past. And it's like, it's not abnormal. It's part of our being human. And
everybody goes through it, like whether they want to admit it or not.
Exactly.
The position they're in life, people have their demons, right?
There's
100%.
It's impossible to be 110% content with everything going on in your life unless you have literally the most perfect life. Everybody's got something that, you know, gonna bother them, and could subconsciously ruin their day. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Definitely.
that's why that's one of the things I enjoy about being an artist, is it's not just me as a person, or like, you know, it's not just like us as people that, you know, can also help people, but you know, our craft too. Like, if you make something like music powers me through everything. So it's like,
Definitely.
if I feel down about something, I immediately resort to music. Like for me, San Holo is my all-time favorite musician ever. Like I love his music more than anything in the entire world. I turn to that when I'm upset, you know? And it's like, I want people to know that you can't, you know, you can not only turn to our music, but you can turn to us as well. Because it's like, if our music can help you through a bad time,
I'm sure we can. Yeah.
You know, like,
100%, 100%. Yeah, and you guys are, little by little, people like you are making the world just a little bit better for a lot of us.
Oh,
and
thank you, man.
It means a lot, dude. Thank you.
Your music too, like you said, like your music can definitely help. And like from there, it's extension. Like, go ahead, reach out to us. Like that's incredible. Like I applaud you guys, and I mean, keep doing it, because like by doing that, you're gonna gain people that genuinely are interested in your music and are interested in you, and that will like have your back, fans that will have your back. And that's all you really need, is just you need your, like, I've talked to artists on here a lot, and a lot of them are saying you need that core group of people. And if by being personable, by being able, by saying, hey, DM me, like, I'm like, if you're going through it, like, let me at least be like an ear to talk to. It's just like, that's going to create a way bigger relationship. Like you said, your fans aren't your fans, they're your friends. And that's gonna instill that in them. And yeah, like they're gonna ride with you. They're gonna be like, they're not gonna question, like, when you make a sound that isn't uniform with what you have. They're gonna be like, hey, like, we know Crowd Control. We've talked to them. We've specifically told them about our issues, and they listened. And like, this is good. Like we love these guys. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Like,
well,
all
dude,
power to you.
these people can take the time out of their day to help us by giving us the rep and giving us, like, the support that we want. There's zero reason why we should not be able to do the same thing back.
Totally.
100%. Yeah, we definitely need a lot more artists like you, and just people like you in general. You guys are, like, little by little, you may not realize it, but yeah, like, you guys are gonna make the world a better place. Trust me.
Thank you, man.
Oh, that warms my heart, dude.
We're
Yeah,
both
of
very
course.
emotional people, so that kind of stuff is like,
No, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Like I'm the same exact way. Like I said, I reach out to my friends, even though I don't know them very well. And I'm just like, hey, like, if you ever dealing with anything, I went through some shit. Like, I know how it feels to feel like you're going crazy, feel like you're alone, whatever it may be. It's just like, yeah, just talk to me. Like you guys, like,
that's great to value, man, because again, there's not a lot of people out there who can say
Would
that
be willing to do that.
Yeah, they have that.
Yeah,
So
it's just,
same in your case, bro. Like, you being that kind of person, again, makes the world a little bit better. So, like,
thank
hold
you,
that
thank you.
high in value.
Yeah,
Absolutely. 100%.
definitely. And it's just, yeah, we, like, again, we are all here together. Like, none of us are going anywhere anytime soon. I just gotta stick with it, and you gotta be there for each other. And with that being said, the world will be a better place. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Let's hope so.
If everyone lived by Plur the way they're supposed
Plur,
to.
definitely Plur.
Oh my god.
Yeah, even if you aren't like a big time, like, big person in the raves or whatever, or like EDM, whatever it may be, like Plur. And it's like, I had Plurthlings on a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about, like, how Plur has such a bad rep because it is associated with, like, the EDM community and the rave community. But they were like, Plur, peace, love, unity, respect. Why would anybody not want that in their life?
Exactly.
Like, being 100%.
It doesn't have to be tied down to just the EDM industry. Like, Plur should be something that should be spread across everything. Like, just in general, that should be something that people should, think about and try and live by.
I think just because
normalize
like,
Plur.
it doesn't have, like, it definitely does have some, like, negative connotations just because of some of the stuff in the scene and, like, some of the people that call themselves Plur, and it's just like, well, that's just kind of your label, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think as a concept, it's definitely very good. It needs to be it doesn't even need to have a title. It's just kind of the golden rule.
Yeah, people make jokes about it all the time, like, that wasn't very Plur of you, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, in reality, it's like, Plur's fucking sick, bro. Like, it's an actual thing.
Definitely. No, I agree. And after talking to those guys, I was like, damn, maybe I am a subconsciously a believer in Plur.
A little
Like,
Plur,
I didn't realize it. But yeah, definitely. Like, people need to take that, like, what it means as a principal idea. People definitely need to be taking that, carrying that with them in everyday life. Because I mean, like you, and like how I try to be. Like if there are more people like us in the world, then people will feel a lot more comfortable, and I think just in general, the world will just be a lot more open of a place. Like, I know it's really idealistic, but if, like, one person does it, it'll teach other people, and it'll be a chain reaction eventually. So
yeah, absolutely. It only takes one person to make a difference, and like,
100%.
seems far-fetched, but it's the truth. If one person can try hard enough and spread the awareness, then it's up to the people around them to try and
continue that.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. And I mean, with that being said, I love chopping it up with you guys. Had a great time.
Yeah,
No, you got, yeah, we went a little bit longer than expected, but I'm glad. I mean, we had a great conversation and a lot to say. Really interesting. Really, you guys are some of the probably most sincere people that I've talked to in like a while. I'm not saying that a lot of these artists aren't, but it's just the fact that, yeah, of course, you guys are motivated. You guys are ready for what like the future has planned, and you guys are ready just to make a difference. And with that being said, I have one. Oh,
sorry.
oh, you guys are good. You guys are good. Everything going on, like, it's totally understandable. But I have just one more question. It's a two-part question. So the first part is, what is one piece of information, or one piece of information, or like one or like a piece of advice, or whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be one piece. What is just some advice that you would give a producer, an artist that is just starting out? And following that, is there anyone that you're listening to right now or collaborating with that you feel they need more recognition? Just go ahead and shout them out.
Okay. So for that first part, I guess for me, I would say, for anybody just getting into production, or, like they just like got a laptop, or they have like FL Studio Lite, or like, like the Ableton Trial or something like that, they're like just getting into it. I think, it won't happen overnight. And I think it's important to understand that from the get-go, and to just kind of know that it will take a while for you to master your craft and hone in on what exactly you want to do. And, that's just kind of all part of it. Like, for the longest time, I was so worried about, what is my sound going to be like? How are people going to like recognize my sound? And like, what is that going to look like? Right. And, some people get lucky and they can manifest that pretty easily, and, good for them. But I am not one of those people. And I know there are like a lot of other people who also are like me. And I've kind of come to learn that your sound evolves with you and like matures with you. So like, especially if you're getting into it like at a young age, like I did, like don't worry about like all the like specifics too much. Just kind of do what you want to do and make what you think sounds good, and the rest will just kind of follow. Like, as long as you stay genuine to what you want, and don't sell out too many times.
Yeah.
I think you'll be all good.
And like, if my biggest thing I see a lot of artists struggle with, stop worrying so much about the numbers, because they will come over time. It's just like, stick to it, like if you're passionate about it and you really want to do it, stick to it. If you have the idea in your head, do it. Like, it's stop worrying so much about what other people are going to think. If you want to make it, make it. And like, if just because this person who might have the same level of experience as you has this numbers and you have this numbers, like, that doesn't matter. Like, everybody,
change something. If that's the case, change something.
Like, everybody moves at their own pace. Everybody progresses at their own pace. So it's like, don't worry so much about what your numbers say all the time, because you have to remember, like, everybody starts somewhere. Like appreciate the little milestones, like 100 likes. If that's your first milestone, if that's big for you, celebrate that shit, because it's only going to go up from there,
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah, you guys are totally right. Don't change who you are. And yeah, celebrate those little milestones. Like, because if you are a small artist, like, you have to take it step by step. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. Of course it's not. Like, Rome wasn't built in a whole day.
And obviously keep an idea of the bigger picture, but don't focus so much on it to the point where you start to feel demotivated because you're not seeing it come quick enough. It like he said, it doesn't happen overnight. It's all in work. It's all in time. And that's something.
It's all a process.
That's something we've both learned. And again, Donnie Decadon has been very big help to us. He's like the, second thing I got out here to family. So he's like family to us, but he makes sure that we, keep our heads on straight when it comes to that. And he
stay on the right track.
Yeah, makes sure we understand, it's all in work. It's just all in work. And it might be the most cliche thing to say, but just stick to it, because your time will come. Nobody's going to just go unrecognized forever. If you're doing it and you're doing it right, it'll happen.
Definitely. I say that all the time. And did you guys want to shout out any artists
We've got some friends.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shout out Spelthy. Shout out Level 1.
Level 1.
Shout out Maya. Shout out Trill Cosby. Got anybody else? There's so many.
We've got a whole collective of friends out here in Denver who we obviously shout out the man Donnie Decadon. You know, he's
the man.
Of course.
We could not be here without him, so we owe a lot to him. But his music's fantastic. Just our Denver homies mainly, which would be Spell Thief, Trill Cosby, Maya, Level 1, Defend.
I feel bad. Yeah, Defend, Zanik.
Yeah, we've got a few friends that we've built very tight relationships with out of music. So
that was the thing he kind of helped me with, was like meeting all the like Denver scene, right?
Oh, and definitely shout out to the other Denver homies like Base Ventura and Case Closed. They have been fantastic supporters of us. They help us a lot.
Morph,
Destro, Hercules.
Hercules, the homie.
Hercules is the
check out Hercules.
He's fantastic. He helps us a lot. So
those are just some of the names.
Yeah, those are some of the friends who have consistently pushed us forward the most. So
yeah, I mean,
shouts to them. We love all.
Yeah, shout out all those guys. I mean, they like you said, they've gotten you here to this point, and having great friends like that is definitely what everyone needs in this life, and especially as an artist to help keep you on track and to help point you to your overall or your overarching destination.
Sure.
With that being said, it's about time to wrap things up. Thank you guys again.
I have one more shout out.
Of course.
I want to give a shout out to my buddy Energy.
All right.
Do that. Yeah, he's gonna be sick as fuck.
All right then. Yeah. With that final shout out, thank you again, Crowd Control. Thank you, TJ and Danny, for coming on. I really appreciate it. You guys are great guys.
Been an honor, a pleasure, been a great.
Oh, of course, a pleasure to have you guys on. Like I'm really glad I had a chance to talk with you guys. And I hope you all the best. I wish you all the best, and I know that it'll happen because of your work ethic and your mindset. And yeah, it's only a matter of time. Don't forget to follow Crowd Control on Instagram. That is Crowd with a K, Control CRTL.
KTRL.
KTRL. My bad. I've been out of school for a little bit.
With a K instead.
Yeah. I've been out of school for a little bit, so thank you for.
It's all good, man. There's been lots of shit with our names. So.
We've gotten Crowd Curdle before, so
I didn't even realize that. My apologies. But yes, that is Crowd Control with the K and CTRL.
KTRL.
KTRL. Jesus. It's not my day today. It's not my day.
It's all good, man.
It's okay.
We'll definitely link them in the video or in the video description. But with that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe on the rise. Don't forget to turn on notifications for our next video. Go check out our older videos in preparation.
Fucking punch that bell. Turn those post notifications.
Turn that bell. Smash that MF and like button. You know what I'm saying?
Smash that MF like button, bro.
So I just want to give a final shout out. Thank you again, Crowd Control, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Man. Thank you.
And plur and peace out, you guys. Peace.
Oh yeah, dude. Peace.